thanks to the organizers for inviting me to give a talk on this very, very important issue of climate and environment. So, my lab has not worked on the water or the air, but we are focusing on the energy side. So how to make systems efficient and how we can produce energy without causing any environmental damage or degradation. So in this talk, actually I will give you an overview of the soil, the water, and the air. These are the three things very, very important as written on my slides. And you can see the lower side. I will read it. It reads Chitijal Pawak Gagan Samira Panch Rachit Ati Adhan Sarira. So this comes from Ramcharitmanas, and I believe everybody knows this slok. This is very, very important because this tells us, and it was realized thousands of years ago, okay? That our body consists of these 5 elements, and obviously if I want to keep my body good and healthy, I have to take care of these 5 elements very much. So any of them, anything less in any of them will affect us. So with this slope we will start. So first is the earth or the soil. So our degradation of soil is in many, many forms. One form is the erosion. So erosion is basically removal of soil from certain part of the earth or ground by many, many means. One is by water also. So water, for example, river, when the flood comes, it can remove a lot of soil. Or rain, it can remove a lot of soil. Air, as well as glacier, and sometimes livestock movement or our developmental work like urban development will remove the soil. So this soil is very, very important because the top layer of soil has got all the nutrition. So if the top layer soil is removed, that means we are losing the nutrition and we are losing the future agricultural prospect from that soil. So this is one thing. And another is the toxification of our earth. As we have heard from many, many speakers here, that we are toxifying our earth, our soil, by so many different means. Okay? So, for example, we are using lots and lots of chemicals in chemical industries. Many of the chemical industries are very chemical intensive, where we have got a lot of heavy metals. So heavy metals are basically metals which have got high molecular weight, and they are harmful to our health. Okay? So among all these, for example, lead, arsenic, mercury, cadmium, and even zinc and copper are considered very harmful to us. Then we pollute our soil through petroleum products. So the petroleum products, for example, the lubricants that we use, the oil we use, and during the manufacturing, we are producing a lot of waste materials from these oil industries. So that's very, very important. And another are industrial wastes. So as I said, the industrial waste contains a lot of organic, inorganic contaminants and the heavy metals. So all these together, they are decreasing the pH of the soil and increasing the hydrogen ion concentration. That means we are making the soil acidic, and the more acidic it is, the more metals will be dissolved in it. As you know, acid is a good solvent. It can dissolve many. So that means we are basically toxifying our soil. Then we have man-made soil movement, which also cause degradation of the soil. For example, deforestation. So still we are cutting a lot of trees for our general needs. The mining, industrial activities are other places where we make soil movement, and intensive agriculture is also another level where we are actually toxifying our soil. So all these things that we are doing to the soil. So in one of the research paper, you can find this erosion severity map of India. So these are all erosion because of the rivers, and you can see that most of the erosions are taking place along the big rivers that we have, Brahmaputra basin and the Gangetic basin, as well as the Mahanadi basin, which is in the Orissa side. As well as we have a lot of erosion happening in the higher mountains. So for example, Uttarakhand and Himachal, they are losing soil because of developments. So a lot of developments we do, but we do not take care of the erosion that will take place after those development activities. So the heavy metals in soils will cause a lot of issues, and as many of us already have realized that these metals and chemicals are actually making their way into our food through the plants. Okay? So the plants that grow on these kind of contaminated soils will contain all those chemicals, and we are consuming those plants. So now the problem is not just the fish. We normally used to believe that fish contains a lot of heavy metals and a lot of pollution, but actually the plants also have this tendency to bring those kind of contaminants into our food. So all these kinds of diseases are already well known to us. You know, cancer is one of them, which has been taking place. Another is, for example, bone-related problem, osteoporosis. Our students also work on this field. We are working on the implants, trying to improve the properties of materials which are used for implants for knee and hip replacement. As you know, many population, in our population, many people need this kind of transplants. Okay? But why to need the transplant in the first place, right? If we can avoid it. So how can we avoid those things? If our food is contaminated, we can never avoid them. Heavy metals cause neurodegenerative disorders and many other diseases. Pesticides are also a big source of heavy metal. Actually, they all contain arsenic. They all contain a lot of these kind of toxic metals, because the pesticides are used to kill the insects. Okay, and for killing you need this kind of poisonous stuff, and this poisonous stuff over and over again, if you use them in the soil, then the soil becomes rich with these kind of pollutants, heavy metals. So they will carry a lot of problem for our health. So this graph shows permissible limits of heavy metals in soil. So we do have some permissible percentage, how much we can accept, or our body can accept. For example, soil can accept, or plants can accept. So you can see that different heavy metals have different tolerable percentage. But among them, for example, here cadmium has very low limits, so we cannot accept cadmium in the high range. Okay? Similarly, arsenic is there. Arsenic is not mentioned here. So basically, these kind of heavy metals are coming into our soil. Through soil, it is coming into our food cycle, okay, and coming to our body. So mining and ecological imbalance. So I come from the engineering field, and mining is very engineering oriented. So here again, we are causing, of course, having lots of mineral in the country is very good because this is a natural resource for us and we are getting a lot of money out of it. Okay? But in the return, we are causing a lot of damage to the environment as well. So how can we develop or find solutions so that our mines or mining activity or any industrial activity does not harm the environment, the soil, the water as much. So, for example, here you can see these open cast mines. Basically, they have destroyed the livelihood of people, greenery, and so on. So here, I'm not trying to say that we should not do the mining, because for our development, for our engineering or any kind of development, we do need some materials. Okay? But how we can manage it, how we can do the whole thing so that we do not disturb the environment, and as soon as it gets disturbed, we replenish it, we bring them back again. So air quality, we have been always talking about air quality in Delhi and many parts of the country. It's not just Delhi, there are many parts of the country. So here, for example, air quality, we rank as of today 5th. So that's a good news to some extent. Okay? But again, you can see whom are we comparing with. Okay? So our air quality is extremely bad, and there are many reasons for this. So, for example, by the city, if we can see the air quality here locally, Ghaziabad and Delhi are very polluted air, whereas some of the southern cities are much better. So, for example, Chennai and Bengaluru may have slightly better, but this is just a relative. We cannot say it's very good, but just relatively better within the country. So sources of air pollution, you see, the bigger chunk, 45%, is dust and construction. So we always believe that the air is being polluted because of the burning of the stubble and so on. Yes, that is happening, but here a lot of dust and through the construction and through the roads, we are adding those dust into our air. Okay. So if we just separate them, what are the major sources of air pollution? So industrial gas emissions, construction, traffic congestion, bad roads, biomass burning, municipal solid waste burning, and road dust. So these are all contributing. So we have to think about how we can reduce these pollutants, especially dust and other kinds of pollutants coming from these sources. Okay? So always our solution should go to the source rather than solving the problem later on. Okay? Because the source is the main place where everything is in a concentrated form and you have good chance of cleaning it, okay? Or tackling the problem. So for example, unprotected landfills. We have a lot of these kind of situations. So for example, in Noida, sometimes I go there and I see this kind of mountain of garbage. Okay? So this kind of unprotected place will contaminate air, water, and the soil as well. Okay? So these are the main sources. Here we have got all kinds of things, all arsenic, lead, because we don't know. Some of them may contain electronic products, for example. If your electronic mobile phone is not working, if you put it in the rubbish bin, slowly it will end up here. And mobile phone has got a lot of lead, a lot of other heavy metals as well. Okay. So now we have to think about the solution. Water is still there. So water is, again, they are all interrelated. We cannot separate them. So for example, just last weekend I was walking in the Yamuna riverside, and you can see this drain. The drain is coming, which is bringing all the pollutants of all kinds, and This is another picture near Signature Bridge. If you go to Signature Bridge, and very, very surprisingly, there was one sofa set here, right in the middle of the river. Okay, so who has this intention of throwing a sofa set in the river? Obviously, it did not come in the drain. Okay, the sofa set will not go in the drain because it's very, very big. But it's very, very surprising. Definitely, people are doing this. People are doing at night. You know, they have something to get rid of at night. They are just coming and throwing. And we saw some plastics having thrown there along the, So now let me just spend a little bit time. I know the time is clicking, and you are waiting for your lunch. But just let me just talk a little bit about solution, because unless we talk about solution, there is no point talking about problems only. So the first solution, I think, is renewable energy, where wind power is extremely important. Fortunately, we have a lot of wind power all around the country, okay? Along the sea coast, mountains. In Delhi, we don't get so much of wind power, but around the country we have a lot. And also, our country is doing a lot in this area. Now you can see fourth largest installed capacity. So how we can continue to grow so that we do not depend on oil or any kind of coal, this kind of materials. So the second is solar power. Solar power also we should spend lot of investment. We should give lot of investment, lot of importance, and we should actually make sure that we get the solar power and we use the solar power. It should not be just for display. In many, many places I see it's full of dust. Obviously, when there is dust on it, it will not work. So let's work on these technologies. The total renewable power, there are many other sources, for example, hydropower. We are getting 46% of total power installed capacity. So this tells about installed capacity. It doesn't mean that we are always producing it. But it's a good news. 46% renewable energy is a good news. So in this sector, we should continue and we should increase our production capacity as well as produce energy. I will just give you a small example of the wind turbine that we have designed in IIT using our undergraduate students. And this kind of design can be very helpful for small houses. So for example, even in small houses, you can install this and they can produce enough energy for household. Strict regulations and compliance on waste management. So separating food, plastics, metal, glass, and papers. Because we have tradition of separating them. For example, every area, this kawadi wala will come, and he will be asking for these things. Why don't we separate and give them? Okay. So for example, glass, metal, plastics, they will take all those things because they will recycle, they will make some use of it. They come because they can earn some money out of it. Clean up transport system. So transport system is extremely dirty. So if you go to any roads, highway, you will get soaked with dust and car fume. Okay. So this has to be cleaned up. Strict regulation compliance at construction sites. So just 2 days back, I complained because in IIT some construction is going on and people are throwing every material from top and it's spreading. They have put some plastics, but it's not enough. So construction sites has to be regulated, and we have to make sure that it is effective. Cleaning of all water bodies. So water bodies are rivers, lakes, and so on. So we must make sure that water bodies are clean. Protect soil. Again, as I talked about, a lot of soil erosion, use of pesticides, these are all harmful. So we can find different ways, for example, organic ways of doing things. Well, we are talking about artificial intelligence. So So perhaps artificial intelligence can help us to analyze using sensors data. It can help us to analyze. Actually, we can see where are the problem areas. Are these the problems which are caused by us, by human being, or are these the problems which are naturally created? So we can figure out using this AI and data analysis. And important thing is we should educate our children and the public, because unless people are educated about this, they will not do things. So education is very, very important, and in all education institutions, whether it is school, elementary or college, university level, everywhere this kind of subject must be taught. This is very, very important that our younger generation have the realization, because that will be the most effective way to implement. Because once they come to the workforce, when they are in the managerial position, they will take care of this. So as a citizen, when we see that, okay, I am just one person, what can I do? So perhaps there are few things that as a person, individual, we can do. Okay? So, for example, we should plant trees, or wherever around your area, if you can find a place, plant trees, or adopt some trees in your neighborhood and water them till they grow big. Okay? There are a lot of people trees or banyan trees. They grow just out of nothing. Okay? But make sure that they do not die. They are taken care of until they are big. Sort out our personal garbage and give all plastics, metals, these to Kabadiwala. No throwing of rubbish in the bin. Similarly, always separate food garbage and find a way to compost them. So use social media to lobby the government. Now we can do this, and let us make a small difference today. It will make a big difference tomorrow. So always let us be ready to make any small difference. It doesn't matter how small it is, because that small difference will add to the bigger thing. Okay? So often we think that, oh, this is a too small thing. It will not make any effect. Actually, it will make a lot of effect. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm sorry for